into Inside Humboldt Basketball with head coach Ronald Abernathy. And since we talked, Coach, you have received Coach of the Year honors again in District 13 Single A, so congratulations on that. But what a weekend. I mean, in dominating fashion, winning pretty good against the Middleton Tigers by at least, 20 points?
Yes, it was. I believe it was 20-point victory.
Yeah. So fantastic win there. What do you think really played into how you guys played that night? Because, a lot of people thought that would be a closer game than what it was.
Well, I really think, and honestly, I really think that we were well prepared.
Yes, sir.
Again, hats off to my assistant coaches, Butler and Jeremy Vanna and Adrian Ingram, who scout and look at video, look at film, and bring it to me, and we break it down and we put together a game plan, and it's an excellent job.
Yes, sir.
Being able to do that, and they do a great job.
Yeah.
Of video and finding and looking and evaluating, so we were able to come up with a game plan. And I also think that we are hitting our stride.
Yes, sir.
Preseason, we tried to play that tough schedule, and it's paid off.
I believe that.
It really has paid off, and it's kind of panned out the way we thought it would. And even though we finished that preseason 8-6, we were able to go through the district undefeated.
Yeah.
And through the district tournament, it's worked out pretty good.
Well, you went through the district undefeated as well in the regular season. The losses that you had were those games that, and you felt like you could have snatched maybe even a couple of those that were losses where you were playing teams that would really challenge you, not just athletic-wise, but, just many different fronts. You had Carnell Allen and also Fred Moore get the All-Academic Award. I want to talk to kind of a little bit about that as well. As a coach, obviously you're focusing on the court as well, but there's a classroom aspect when you're coaching high school basketball. What does that mean to have both of your seniors get that award?
Well, our expectations are high for our basketball players, and that's perennially been what has happened. I don't know if you remember, not all the way back to 2017 when we had all 5 of our players make all academic, including our managers, Trey Reed, and we focus in on, our kids know that for us, and in order to play basketball at Humboldt, they need to go to class.
Yeah.
And they need to try to, be proficient in the classroom. And as a coaching staff, that's our expectation. And they do a good job. They do a good job at that. And, again, congratulations go to Carnell and Fred. And because in order to get that, you have to have a 3.0
That's
GPA or above.
Yeah.
Until you even qualify.
So those are the 2 qualifications, senior and 3.0, correct?
Yes.
That's what I thought. So that's great. And then all district, all tournament team, you had Fred Moore, Jeffrey Patterson, Kendrick Taylor, Stephon Shivers. Right. That's quite a few to end up on that. Is that normal to have that many?
No, it's not normal.
Because I saw a lot of teams only had like 2.
And most of the time, 2, and you stretch it to 3, but to have 4 is a phenomenal accomplishment.
Now, how does that get selected?
The coaches select that. The coaches select that, and we cannot vote for our own players.
Okay.
We cannot vote for our own players. Neither can we vote for the coach of the year.
Yeah.
So that's strictly the opposing coaches.
Wow, fantastic. And then Stephon Shivers getting tournament MVP. And I think we may have talked a little bit of this in the last one, because I remember us having some discussion about the district MVP being from some team that didn't even play in the championship. And, I don't want to rehash all of that and reopen old wounds there. But it's just a lot of accomplishments here. We want to make sure those young men get their recognition, because those awards are not just given out.
Right. And I've heard some scuttlebutt about persons, saying, well, the guy, the kid at West Carroll, he scored 25 points on us. I still go on record, and I still say that was not fair. Sure. I still say that Fred Moore, at that point, is the best player in our district. And I don't care what they say, how they say it. I don't think that was right in any way. The MVP coming from a 4th-place team, it was kind of ridiculous. Yeah. But again, the coaches voted for that.
That's right.
And that is a disgrace, if you ask me.
Sure.
Because in the years past, we have had the MVP basically come from the team that's winning the district.
That's right.
Are at worst maybe the second place team.
Yeah.
But not the fourth place team who did not even beat the first place team, did not beat the second place team, nor did they beat the third place team.
Yeah.
And yes, the kid is a good player, no question about that. And,
sure.
Someone said, well, he scored 25 on Humboldt. Yes, he did, but we beat you by 40.
Exactly.
Okay, we beat you by 40 points. And basically, I still think it was a disgrace, and I do not agree with it, and I do rally against it.
Sure.
Because I frankly just don't think that was the right decision.
Well, you came out of that tournament, District 13A, big championship game there. You get the win. I was mistaken on the score, 62-49. Still, it was not a close game.
Right.
And a lot of that fourth quarter was just trying to let time pass. It really was.
And I think they hit a shot at the buzzer.
They did. Yes, they did. So, that score really does not show the dominance that your team had. And then you come out of that with a convincing win over, and I know they were a number 4 seed coming in, but number 4 seeds have gotten upsets in times past. You got to take care of business at home here at Thomas Ray Boykin Gymnasium. This one was a 20-point win, actually 73-50.
Right. Well, earlier I had talked about that where we are at this point in our season is we are basically focused in on the fact not so much the other team, but focused on what we do, how we do it, taking care of our business. And we feel that if we take care of our business, do what we're supposed to do, then the rest will take care of itself.
And South Fulton comes into town last week. It was a Saturday night, just kind of an awkward night to be playing basketball, especially when you've done Tuesdays and Fridays all throughout the season. And then you go to district and you play some off nights that you normally wouldn't play. But, the home atmosphere, it started feeling like pre-COVID, to be honest with you. They got here early, where before they would get here either right at game time or sometimes a quarter in. People were here early, milling around, going to the concession stand. It felt good.
It felt excellent.
And now we need people to travel with us because tomorrow night you're going into UT Martin, a bigger arena.
Right.
But that's not going to phase these kids. They've played in Murfreesboro. So,
right.
But they're going to go into a bigger arena tonight or tomorrow night rather. And are there any preparations that you talk about that?
Well, that's where experience comes in.
Okay.
You said the key word. These kids have already played they've already played in Murfreesboro.
Yes.
And then, of course, last year we played at UT Martin.
Yes.
Already.
And it was a big game at UT Martin.
Big game UT. So these kids have already been through that. So that's where experience comes in.
And they actually played, I think, 2 games.
2 games.
At UT Martin last year.
Yes, we
This
did.
year we're only going to do 1, it looks like.
Right.
And then we got to go to Dresden.
And go to Dresden for the championship.
So, I've not been to Dresden's gym. It's been a long time since I've been to their football field, but not
I think
the gym.
we actually played in 2016. Was the last time I've been in there. We had to go play at Dresden, which I think was 2016.
Okay. We'll talk about that a little more about the Gleason Bulldog game coming up, and as you will be facing them tomorrow night. We need fans to start making your plans to travel now. Those tickets are only available on GoFan, aren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think they are as well. I know the home games here are. We'll try to find out that information and post it up in the day tomorrow as well. So we have a coach that we're getting ready to interview. I'll let you kind of segue into that, kind of lead us into. We're going to take a commercial break in just a moment, but talk about Coach Jeremy Voners. Joined the team a year ago on your coaching staff, and now here we are year 2.
Yes, sir. A tremendous asset, for me, and I've always thought that strength and conditioning and weightlifting were important. They are the backbone. They are the foundation of our program. Since we came here, it has been. Since we've been here, it still is. And now it's ever more important. And we have a great coach, who is in charge of our strength and conditioning, who knows what he's doing, and a tremendous asset to our staff. Not only with strength and conditioning, but his knowledge of the college game, and his played before, and he's coached in college, and we get a very experienced coach at Humboldt.
Before we get away from talking about the past games, there was one incident that happened, and I wanted to get your take on this because I as long as I've been covering your teams, a coach from your staff has always been able to come over and talk to your person doing the score.
Right.
But all of a sudden that changed last week. Is that a rule that we just didn't know about?
No, it's not. It's not a rule. That is
Okay.
consistent. And of course, Steve Shivers is the coach you're talking about.
Yeah.
And he's in charge of stats.
Yeah.
And so he has frequently gone to the table to ask how many fouls or how many timeouts are that. But that's not a rule. He can do that.
Okay, because I was like, man, that was new, and that ref wasn't playing. Like he was about to call something.
But he was a little extra with that, because if anybody would observe basketball, you know that has always been the case where, you know, one of your assistants is in charge of that.
Yeah.
And that happens to be Steve Shivers, and he's done it on a consistent basis. That's the
Okay.
first time in his 8 years that he's ever told that he could not do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I knew I had seen him do it a lot before and
Yes.
never had anything said, so I wanted to cover that because when we come back, we're going to stay looking ahead and leave those past games behind us because they don't mean anything at this point. I mean, yeah, we're thankful for it, but, you know, one loss and we're out. We got to keep focused on the road ahead of us, so that's what we'll do. Coach Voners is coming up next, folks. You're watching Inside Humboldt Basketball with head coach Ronald Abernathy. We'll be back right after this.
Are you in search of a nurturing and educational environment for your little ones? Look no further than We Pray Learning Academy, located at 910 North Central Avenue in Humboldt, Tennessee. We offer our services to children aged 8 weeks to 12 years old. With our dedicated owners, Hannah and Doris Collins, you can rest assured knowing that your family is in good hands. To learn more about our academy and how we can best serve your child, reach out to us via email at weprayacad@yahoo.com or give us a call at 731-784-7294. We can't wait to meet you and your little Vikings.
Nothing brings community together quite like a sporting event. Security Bank and Trust Company is committed to supporting our local sports teams because we know how important it is to be part of a great team. This is Deanne McEwen at Security Bank and Trust Company. When you team up with us, you are fostering the competitive spirit of our local athletes. Want to be part of our team? Join our amazing banking community. Visit your nearest branch or head to securitybanktn.com to learn more. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Get ready.
Hey girls, we're going to McDonald's.
Can I get a Big Mac?
Can I get a big chicken?
And no onions on mine.
And extra sauce on mine. No,
And no sauce on mine and extra pickle.
When everyone wants something special, order ahead in the app to save time.
Hey Vikings fans, this is Ted Martin, former Humboldt Vikings quarterback and class of '93 graduate. When me and my fellow classmates want to follow Viking sports, we watch Viking News on Demand. In addition to live streaming of games, there are also plenty of specialty shows that keep us all involved in our alma mater. On behalf of the class of 1993, go Vikings!
Welcome back in. You're watching Inside Humboldt Basketball with head coach Ronald Abernathy, and he has given us the fast track to his assistants this year. And so we've got Coach Jeremy Vonner, who is the final coach to join us in this season of the podcast. And we've had a great season so far, talking to each one of them. And speaking of seasons, Coach, we hadn't talked since junior high has ended. You had another great year in junior high basketball.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, I know, again, maybe a little bit earlier exit than you want. You want to win that whole championship. But talk about the growth of that team this year and kind of what you've got looking to next year.
Well, I was really surprised with our kids. We started off with really young. We only had one starter, Jaden Champion, who was a starter for us last year.
Okay.
And he was the only kid that actually played a lot. So we had a lot of new kids, the 8th graders that tried out in the spring. Some of them had never played basketball before. So we had a lot of young kids. Our 7th graders were very talented, but just, it's just their first time playing competitive basketball. When you get out of City League, travel ball, AAU, when you get to like just organized basketball, it's completely different. So we grew. We went last summer actually. We went to Memphis twice. Went to Bethel camp. So we took a lot of lumpings. During the summer, and I didn't think we was going to have I thought it was just going to be one of those years we're just going to kind of grow and develop kids. And start off a little rough, but then we had a stretch. We won like 7 or 8 games in a row.
Yes.
And we ended up winning the season, our championship during the season, the regular season.
Sure.
And we fell a little short there in our district championship, and it could have been some outside factors, but we just kind of came out flat. And then tournament, we made another nice little run, and we got to that Final Four, and the team that beat us this year ended up winning the state championship. So the team that beat us last year in the Final Four, I think they won and went to the state tournament. So we've lost to the team that's actually won that section and went on to state tournament.
Wow, that's amazing. You lose Jaden Champion. I know high school, they're excited to get him.
Oh, yeah.
But you've got some good players that are coming back next year to build off. How many 8th graders did you have? Because I know there's quite a few coming off the depth of the bench. Well,
with the 8th graders this year, we had 6 or 7.
Okay.
We only had one that played.
Okay.
And then Whiteside, Zacchaeus Whiteside, he played a little bit last year.
Yeah.
So he had a little bit of experience. So I had a player and a half that got experience. But with this group, there'll be 8th graders next year. That was kind of core of our group. So there'll be 3 that should be starters and should be leading the way. And then there was a couple of 7th graders that came off the bench. And it just depends on if they're going to develop.
Yeah.
If they want to buy into the process and being more leaders and being more mature, with middle school kids it's a little bit harder.
Yes, sir.
But if they can just willing to be more mature and kind of buy into the process, I think we have a chance to be pretty good next year.
Yeah.
And make some moves.
I know you've been at some other schools. How valuable is it to be in the same building as the high school?
It's easy. Yeah. It is easy. So there's just everybody's here.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of going from one facility to the next. I mean, you got them here. When we're doing our preseason, I got them. A lot of our kids play football. So but during the preseason, I got my middle school kids and we got our high school kids, and we just kind of work out together. So it works out better for me, really.
So that kind of is a perfect segue into what we're going to talk about, because you're over strength and conditioning. And, we had the coach, late coach Tony Lambert, that was here for a while. We went 1 year, I think maybe Marcus Butler stepped up, and it was a lot for him as the main assistant coach to also have to do strength and conditioning. And the opportunity came for you to come to Humboldt, take over the junior high program, as well as step up in the high school. So let's talk about that transition, because early on, obviously, you're weightlifting and you're doing that kind of thing with the high school team. But how does it change when your junior high season ends to high school? What changes there?
Just being able to focus. Because there are some times for the workouts, I have them and I'll just send them to Coach Ingram, because I got middle school practice. So it does, and that's what I do enjoy about being with Coach Ab and his staff. There's so much flexibility, and guys willing to cover and guys willing to help. So but when middle school's over, I'm just kind of able to focus more. And I think this year our players really bought into the process. Yeah. So it just made putting the workouts together a lot easier. When it comes to strength and conditioning, you can have a work. It's still really like with anything. It just depends on how much you're going to try hard at it. So the guys have really bought in. So some of the workouts that I haven't been there, they'll come back and say, "Oh man, that was a hard one," or that was a really good one.
Yeah.
So the kids have really bought in. But if I'm not there and if I have to go to do middle school, then Coach Ingram or either Coach Butler or either both of them will do it. And then, but when middle school's over, I'm just kind of able to kind of focus in and really kind of key on our workouts and things that we need to be doing.
Yeah. Now, during the games, now you're sitting sideline, and I know you were able to a little bit during the season of junior high, but now most every game you're there. How does that change? On the sideline, how does a Coach Ab, he's got a lot of guys sitting there, and if everybody's trying to talk at once, it would be chaos. How do you guys work that out?
Well, I have, just in my past experience, I just kind of learned it's just like a puzzle piece. You just got to figure out where you fit. So what I do when I'm on the sideline, when the guys that are going to play, I'm just kind of in their ear. Okay. So I'm talking to them before they even go in. We're kind of talking about, guys like Eli, like, hey, look at the defense they're running. Hey, they're running zone. Look at what JJ's doing. See how he's being effective. See how they trap JJ.
Right.
So kind of getting those guys ready. So JJ and Wedley, and not JJ, but Eli, Wedley, Tobias Bell, all those guys, I'm just kind of in their ear. about just seeing it before you even get on the floor, because a lot of when the guys come off the bench, they got to be ready to play.
Yes.
And that's more mental than it is physical, because technically the other guys have gotten a sweat. You've warmed up and now you've sat down. Now you got to go back in. You know, so I just try to be in those guys' ear and just kind of help them see the game a little bit and try to make it easier for them.
Sure. And I feel like our depth this year is even better than last year. I mean, when you look at this high school team, I think that's how we're able to get over some of these humps that we've had in front of us over the last couple of weeks. Middleton played us really good in the regular season, and so I'm sitting back going, oh, this championship's going to be a good one.
Right.
And not that it wasn't a good game. It was good for Humboldt. I mean, it was great for us. Now, they did have a player get in foul trouble that changed a little bit of the dynamics of that final few minutes. But, Humboldt took care of business. And we continue to look ahead at Gleason and some of these teams. We can play a Union City down the road that's got a really good player that is getting some national attention. And but I feel like our depth is much better this year.
It is. And, I just think, last year a lot of our kids were sophomores.
Yeah.
And now they're juniors, and then obviously got 2 seniors. So, being a sophomore, going from a sophomore to a junior, it's like a huge jump. So sometimes I have to go back and remember when I was a sophomore, what was I like? And then when you're a junior, it's like you're a completely different person. So a lot of our kids, their confidence is just grown. They're bigger, stronger. They kind of understand a little bit more. They've been thrown into the fire a little bit. So I think just the maturity process has been huge, and then a lot. We got a really big junior class. We got a bunch of kids in 11th grade on our team. So really the chunk of our team outside of Fred and Cardinal, and then you got Kaden Taylor's a sophomore.
Yes.
So just a chunk of our kids just got a ton of experience last year.
Humboldt has been blessed not to have to start a lot of freshmen. There's some teams they're having to start freshmen.
Absolutely.
We have had the depth to where those freshmen have been able to sit. Actually, not really sit. They play in a freshman league, but they've been able to sit during our games and see what's going on and learn from that bench and not on the court, which is why I think we've been able to be successful as we have over the last few years. This may be more of a difficult question, not really trying to be, but this is your second year. Has it been this year been easier because you've learned the kids better, or have they learned your weight loss program, or not weight loss, but your weightlifting program better, or is it maybe a mixture?
I think both.
Okay.
I think both. I think for here, just with anything, just relationship. You know. So I think with the kids, me getting used to them, and then them getting used to me has been huge.
Sure.
And then there's just also that trust factor. It's one thing for somebody to tell you to do something, but then there's the other thing. If I know this person has my best interest, that this person really cares for me and he wants the best out of me. So I think that has really made it. And I also feel like that's why our preseason was just phenomenal this year. We had kids just busting their hump, early in the year.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of carried because we started in July.
Okay.
So, we've been lifting since July. So we've been working out. We've been doing this all year. So the kids have bought in. I think a lot of that is just they just believe and then just the relationship, and then I'm kind of able to kind of open up the box with our workouts and things that we do and they trust. So if they trust, then we can keep on going.
Wow.
So,
Strength and conditioning for each sport is different, and obviously you mentioned earlier junior high guys playing football a lot. You got the same on high school team where they're playing football, and if they have a successful season, it pulls them out for a little bit longer.
Right.
What's that adjustment like when they come to you for strength and conditioning for basketball? Does it take a little while to catch up? Or?
It does. It does. And I think some of it, I know with the football and different coaches are different, so some football programs, they have a certain regiment that they do once they get to end season.
Yeah.
And I think every coach is different, so but I think with our kids, they do have to kind of catch up, but we're lifting every day, not every day, but like every other day.
Yeah.
So just sooner or later, they just kind of get in wherever you fit in. You know? So
you talk about every coach is different. You've got a new coach in football this year,
Exactly.
Hayden Williams. I don't know what's going to happen. We haven't really made any kind of announcements. Junior high, if it's going to stay, the way it was. Is that a conversation you sit down with them and have? Say, okay, what does your strength and conditioning look like?
No, I would definitely like to though.
Okay.
I have not, but I would definitely be up to that. Because I'm assuming with the field house is going to be probably some renovations and
yes.
You know, and I think it'd be good for our kids. I mean, just for really like all of our kids, because the big thing about strength and conditioning is that it keeps people from getting hurt.
That's
you
right.
know, that's probably the most important part.
Yeah.
And that's the one you kind of knock on wood, you know, and just hope that kids don't get hurt. And you want to try to, you know, prevent injuries. So the more you can take care of our athlete's body, then the more chance that they can play without getting hurt and, you know, things like that.
Man, it's been a great couple of years that you've been here as far as in that regards. You know, not a lot of injuries to speak of in the basketball side of things. So good luck tomorrow night as we head to UT Martin. Did you get to make that trip with them last year?
I did go.
Okay.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
It's a nice place.
It was awesome.
Nice place. Not quite the Murfreesboro feel,
no,
but it's the next step.
It's practice. It's practice step. Yep, I agree with that.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for stopping in with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll be right back, folks. You're watching Viking basketball on Viking News on Demand.
Are you looking for a job in manufacturing or maintenance? Look no further than West Rock, located at 1720 North 9th Avenue in Humboldt, Tennessee. West Rock is not only proud to support the Humboldt Vikings, but they are also actively hiring. What's even better is there is no mandatory weekend overtime. The manufacturing position starting at a competitive $19.25 an hour, and the possibility for an increase to $19.83 an hour after just 60 days. West Rock offers a great opportunity for those interested in the field. If you have an experience as a maintenance technician, the pay ranges from $21.39 to $32.88, depending on your level of expertise. Don't wait any longer to get started on your application by visiting jobs.westrock.com. Join the West Rock team as we cheer on your team, the Humboldt Vikings.
Sport builds us up. It strengthens our bodies. It strengthens our resolve. Sport teaches us lessons of grace or humility or humanity, and that we're far more powerful together. Winning the hour or winning the year or winning our lives. We're winning our way. Because while a season is short, fierce is forever.
Jake from State Farm. It's tough trying to make it as a streamer.
Hey, you've got this. Remember, State Farm is there to support you. Besides, I think I know a guy.
You want to make it big, kid? Timmy Tenders knows how.
Let's do this, Gramps.
I'm only 33. Give me a Y, give me a space bar, give me a space bar, give me a mouse touch, give me a mouse touch. Now talk to Chad.
Who's Chad? Chad. Where's Chad?
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. During the Great Depression, nothing came easy. But with just 5 cents, an old truck, and a load of hay, John Tyson and his family found a way to deliver quality chicken to other hardworking people. Today, Tyson continues to find new ways to help put a chicken in every pot. Because people deserve farm-raised chicken of the highest quality. At Tyson, we remain committed to this simple promise: to always keep it real, to always keep it Tyson.
Welcome back into Inside Humboldt Basketball with head coach Ronald Abernathy. And, Coach, I'm going to tell you something. Voners just knows how to sit down and have an interview. I mean, we could have went on a long time right there. Just his knowledge of the strength and conditioning side of things is unreal.
It's unbelievable. And, again, when you look at our team, and when we play, we kind of follow the same concept. If you watch us play, usually the first quarter, second quarter, the opposing team is jumping up and down and hollering in because, they want to beat Humboldt. But around the third quarter, end of the third quarter, you can see the strength and conditioning of our team come out because we continue to move just though nothing's going on. If you look at the other team, they're pulling their shorts and they're bending over.
Yeah.
And he's done a tremendous job.
And even talking to him about, how that strength and conditioning for every sport is different. And, his adaptability to, if a football season goes extra long, he's able to catch them up and how we go about that. And the understanding of how the games operate is so crucial. And you've been blessed with great strength and conditioning coaches. I go back to Lambert, and I know Butler had to do it a year there.
Right.
And then we was able to get Bonner in here. But you've been blessed here. We really haven't had a lot of injuries the last few years, and I don't want to cause anything here and bring it up, but I think it goes back to that strength and conditioning.
No question about it, it does. And the strength and the agility that our players are afforded through lifting weights. For example, I always laugh. We laugh about this. People have different questions or what we should do and how we should do it. But, the one thing I probably think most people would be surprised at is last week we played on Monday.
Yeah.
We lifted weights heavy Tuesday.
Okay.
Wednesday and Thursday.
They were feeling it Thursday.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
Great strength and conditioning and agility sessions. And, of course, you saw the results on Friday.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Saturday, yeah. So now we got a game coming up tomorrow night. You've got Gleason coming in. I'm pretty sure you all have been looking at the film. And, again, at this point, I know you're saying you focus on your team, but what do you expect? Do you expect them to be a heavy team that's going to try to shoot threes and stay away from Fred and Stephon down low, or they're going to come at you?
Well, they're going to be similar to South Fulton.
Okay.
They're going to be able to shoot the threes, and, we're going to have to defend. And, of course, our game plan is to play great defense and be as efficient as possible offensively.
Yeah.
And of course we'll have to do the same thing against Gleason.
If they're like South Fulton, there was one play, and I don't know what they were doing. You're probably gonna be able to bring it out. They were able to get number 4 open a lot.
Right.
What were they doing to cause us to be out of step?
Well, they were sitting a lot of screens, which will get anybody open.
Yeah.
But what we were able to do is to get over those screens and cause some disruption.
Yeah.
A player like him, you're not going to stop. You just got to disrupt him, make him lose rhythm, make him break the pattern. And of course, we were able to do that because he did a good job, but we were able to kind of get into him a little bit and break his pattern and make sure that we could defend well.
Sure. Well, I mean, they're not gonna run at Stephon or Fred very often. Oh my. Well, I know. It's kind of been an up and down season. I've been putting it out in the poll before the game. Be like, hey, who do you think is going to be the leading scorer tonight? Because it's not one player, and that's what's so dangerous about this team. One game it's Jeffrey Patterson that's the leading scorer. Fred Moore, Stephon Shivers, Kendrick Taylor's had a few games where he's led. You really can't key in on one player and expect to beat this team.
No, that's the luxury that we have, that at any night, there's a different person. We're waiting for the night when they all are on at the same time. We just hope that comes at the right time.
Yeah.
The right team.
That's right.
The right game.
That's exactly right. Coach, the fan base has continued to travel well, and I look at the district tournament halls is not a close gym to get to, and there's not an easy way to get there. You're going to go back roads somewhere,
right.
And our fans have continued to travel, and I'll even want to say on this program, thank you to our fan base and businesses. We've raised over $1,200 to put this broadcast on the last 2 weekends.
Right.
And it looks like we're going to have another $600 coming in this week to make sure that these broadcasts, we got one tonight coming up after this, and we got one coming up tomorrow night. And it looks like the money just keeps coming in, and the fans have all bought in as well.
Right. I would like to thank our fan base because they have been good. And as always, there are those detractors, but there's a lot more positive people than there are detractors. There's a lot more people that help than those that don't. And I just want to let our fans know that we appreciate them and we appreciate their support irregardless.
And I know things can get chippy on court, and we even mentioned earlier about sometimes referees can even get, kind of on those power trips, and it's hard to work through those things. But I was at the table. It was after the game. We were packing up, and somebody from South Fulton walked over to the table. And I don't know if George told you this or not, but they were just so complimentary of how everything was run, from security being nice at the door but thorough, but also to all the way down to the court and how the players conducted themselves. And said, this has been a greent night of basketball. Even though we lost, it's been a great night to be here. And that's what you want every team leaving saying.
And that's what we intend to be. We in the past, persons have not wanted to come to play at Humboldt, but I probably think that Humboldt is the safest, most serene place to have a college basketball game.
Yes, sir.
High school basketball game that you could go to. And George Yarbrough does an excellent job of pregame planning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we're on the road tomorrow night, and I know you got practice and stuff today and getting ready for all of that. Good luck tomorrow night, and
Thank you very
we
much.
look forward to sitting back down next week.
Yes, sir.
This has been Inside Humboldt Basketball with head coach Ronald Abernathy, and we'll be back again next week. Don't forget girls action coming up right after this on Viking News On Demand. Click that other link, and we will be live momentarily. Also tomorrow night, hoping to bring the boys game to you. I'm working on an announcer. I personally can't be there, but I do have some folks that we're working on getting there with the camera and all of that to bring that action to you. There will definitely be updates no matter what. We don't want you sitting at home wondering what's going on in UTM. So good luck to these boys tomorrow night. God bless you. Thanks again for watching.